our working day. We will have a presentation of the hotline Dopomoga, Anastasia Rozlutska and Maria Lemberg, and Maria Lemberg. They will make this presentation of this project. Association of Ukrainian Partners, Ukrop. Good morning. Maria Lemberg, Union of Ukrainian Patriots Fund, and the line, we have nothing to do with the political party, which has a similar name, and it's a separate organization. We're happy to introduce our initiative to create a hotline, Dopomoga, or help, to solve many issues of people who suffered because of the war in the East. And we would like to start with the situation at present. A lot of charity volunteer organizations and which their own initiative to create hotlines to help, and they specialize in, it could be psychology, it can be assistance to the armed forces, but there is no agree the actions between all, no coordination between these initiatives. They're very local or narrow, and people, because of the stress and the stress situations, very often they call to the first number that comes, and they call on any issue. Because of that, we decided to set up to create a hotline that will unite all volunteer organizations that want to, and for those who suffered because of the war, and to be a coordination center, to play their role. As a part of this goal, we would like to invite for cooperation other charity organizations and other hotlines to help to those who victims of the war, and that can be people whose relatives are missing, because, and those could be those who IDPs or other groups of people who are victims of the war in the East. That's why the overall goal is to provide assistance to people. It's like an interest point for many issues. When people where two people can call and get a consultation to be redirected to any call center to solve their issue, to find an answer for their issue. And we wanted to unite many initiatives, and this national number, could become a base for many other volunteer initiatives to get as many focused audience, and through our hotline. In our hotline, we have psychologists and lawyers, and they can provide professional assistance. We don't position ourselves as a psychiatric line or psychology line, and this is the line we provide complex assistance. But at the same time, we have people who can help when there is a crisis, and who can identify a crisis, why someone can identify a problem and how we can help, and including that we can redirect, direct, consult, and how to interact with public agencies and institutions. So we invite representatives of business who believe that it's their duty to support people who are victims of this situation in the country, and we invite them to the initiatives and to hotlines or to other projects to create interoperability between people, and when people don't get assistance from state institutions, they don't understand why they're disappointed, and they don't understand why they suffer. But when there are people who help them, that creates some feeling that they are not left alone. And my colleague will tell you more about the work of this phone line. And I would like to mention also that the phone line is professional. We use professional approaches, and the processes are built in a way that we can analyze of the calls, and on the basis of that we can understand the biggest problems that are not resolved. The biggest problems for our target group of our fault line. And if our politicians are interested that those analytical materials can be used to solve to develop some legislative initiatives, or to develop some approach to how to solve problems of IDPs or military men, and etc. So I believe that the idea is correct, and we invite all who would like to cooperate with us. And we are not competing, but we are supporting volunteers' initiatives in the country.
Good afternoon, Anastasia Rozlutska, the head of the project. The project has been working since April. We have a team that includes people who have good experience of work on hotlines. We have many volunteers who work with the hotline Euromaidan SOS. We also have psychologists who provide first psychological assistance, and volunteers with legal education. And that is where we provide assistance. And our idea was to become a coordination logistical center that could provide first assistance to a person who doesn't know what to do in this or that situation. We already have many phone calls, and we can make some analysis based on them. We have most requests from civil population, from the pre-front area. That is the category of people who today are not covered by anyone. There are no special hotlines for them. We have many hotlines which work in different directions for providing assistance to IDPs, and all the hotlines are working with certain audiences. And first of all, we are trying to establish cooperation with different organizations, local centers of local cooperation, so that the person who applies can get assistance. We had a case when a person in the East could not get social assistance. That is the state machine that has to provide social assistance to people. The money were blocked somewhere, and thanks to the activity of volunteers, that issue was resolved. And so today we have established cooperation with 46 NGOs. We are cooperating with them. They recommend they give our phone number. And the main task is to inform about the hotline that works, that coordinates, the line that you can call easily. Because getting a phone call, first thing we do, we recommend to a person, if they need to get some information, we provide some volunteer hotlines, but also governmental hotlines. We give these contact numbers. And we very often receive feedback from these people, and they say, you know, we managed to reach everyone, but the governmental entities because usually it's the one phone number that is working. That's unlike the governmental organizations. The volunteer organizations have 4 lines, and it's easy to reach us. The number of phone calls depends on the events in the East. If the situation is quite there, then the number of phone calls is not that big. If it's getting hot, then the number of phone calls is very big.
Good morning. Experience of my work as a coordinator of a psychologist community Donbass SOS became the most important, on which became the ground on which hotline assistance was built, and a part of those consultants and people with education who worked on the hotline, and they are volunteers, consultants on our hotline assistance. Working during Maidan and from psychological crisis service, which transformed into civic organization, Ukrainian Association of Professionals on overcoming consequences of psychotrauma. So we built partnership relations, and we were building our work in the following way. Any psychological call from any place, it is directed for people to receive individual psychological assistance in Zhytomyr, Lviv region, if it's possible, through mobile brigades of psychologists who are working in ATO area. And this partnership work of 2 unique volunteer initiatives of hotline assistance and Ukrainian Association of Professionals on overcoming consequences of psychotrauma events allowed to develop such a product. When we consulted with the hotline, discussed what would make us different from other many hotlines that are working, dealing with events on the East. We agreed on such a principle, like almost family attitude. Just imagine that our relative is calling and they need assistance. How can we help? What do we know? And good relations require from us to be patient listeners, and also to give very good advice, productive advice. We want in the end of our consultation on the phone, we wanted to hear a breath of relief. And a part of people who call us, and very often they have nothing but just this phone call, and which is like an advice which can calm them down, and several number of calls show that sometimes people cannot understand what kind of situation they got in, psychological, legal, because in a stressed condition people are, they need assistance from a side. And finally, I will allow myself, psychologist, people ask advice, and I will give such one. Helping others, we help to ourselves. So if you know who needs our help, give them our number. For those people who hear us in the East, in every event that happens to you, there is a sense. Find that sense, and find someone who will hear your story. It's important. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Kateryna. Thank you, friends, colleagues, journalists. If you have any question, raise your hand. And be brief and introduce yourself. Imagine Ukraine. Editor. You cooperate with?
Do you cooperate with Mr. Taruta, Vasily Taruta? Have you addressed him with some requests? I wouldn't say that this is our MP, but basically what we do, the cooperation with MPs, with any state officials is very difficult. We made several requests, non-official requests, with the letters, information letters or letters requests to MPs, but we have not received any assistance. We would receive some reply, some feedback that we'll try to do something, but eventually there was no real assistance provided to us. That wasn't efficient, and it cannot be shown in the presentation, and it cannot be added to the statistical information. It would be good if it works. Then the efficiency of cooperation with the organizations that really can influence certain things would be more efficient. Could you please tell how many people work in your hotline? Who are your donors? And if possible, what are your contacts? Your phone number, maybe website, social networks, how we can reach you. Talking about number of volunteers, those who work on the hotline, it differs. We have up to 20, sometimes more than 20. Now we have 18 volunteers who work on the hotline. Who are donors? The donors are Cargill, Ukraine, which supports our hotline, and that is part of their program, Corporate Social Responsibility. And one more question. Do you have contacts in Facebook? We are called Hotline Dopomoga. Our phone number is 0800 503 102, and you can call, you can write me as well, Anastasia Rozlutska. I would like to add also about the donors that basically this creation of the national number 0800 and organization of this crisis center as well, this is absolutely volunteers initiative. That was created when the fund that I represent started to help military. Then we started working with the families of the perished military, then with the IDPs, and we could realize that any direction is unlimited. It's so big, it's so large scale, and there are so many lives destroyed by that. There are thousands of people who need assistance. And another conclusion, if a person lives in Kiev and can go to any support center, then for those people it's much more difficult to survive all these problems, through these problems. But when a person lives in a small town settlement and the internet is not accessible, the person probably doesn't have a computer, then these people, for them it's very difficult to survive through any sorrow, and they do not get any assistance from governmental organizations, like payments to those military who perished, when they need to knock into thousands of doors, and the people do not understand why they are taken home, why they are taken to war, and when they come back, then the whole town meets them, but in among those guys who came back from war, they are jobless and they cannot get any social assistance. They do not know how to get the status, who can help them with getting the status of the participant of ATO. And this all leads to people having a lot of pain, and the state does not notice that. It looks like that. Unfortunately, we have no more time. We will always be happy to see you in our media center in the future. Our next briefing will take place in 2 minutes.
Questions. First, what is the main problem?